What's up, everybody? Welcome to You Know What to Do in a Piece with Netta. And in this brief episode, I'm going to be talking about inner child and healing your inner child and the tips and tools that you can use. So, inner child is basically one with you, okay? And it is your childlike personality that you have within. You and your inner child is always one. When you separate, that's when issues start to arise. So your inner child is within you. Your inner child is here. You always should keep your inner child in your heart. And your inner child is your personality from your childhood before puberty. So all of the programming and the domestication and, any traumas that may have happened in your life, or just maybe you didn't have any traumatic experience, or maybe your parents may have overprotected you and it caused you to act out later on in life that could have caused maybe traumatic experiences, or just made you act out and made you feel unprotected into the world as you became an adult. So to heal your inner child, you would have to reparent yourself, because your parents did the best that they could, so with the tools that they had. But at the end of the day, you didn't get what you needed from your parents. So you have to reparent your inner child so that when certain triggers happen in your life now as an adult, you can handle it. You will handle it differently. A lot of people don't even know that they have a wounded inner child, and you see a lot of people in society, or even some things within yourself, you react like a child or immaturely. And if you haven't even started the inhaling of your inner child, and you have a wounded inner child, then you may be emotionally immature. A lot of times when things happen to children that's traumatic, or they got abandonment issues, or just anything that they couldn't cognitively have a reason or recognize, as a child you will develop these personalities and these defense mechanisms in your in your life. And when things start to trigger, you go back to what happened in the past, and you won't be in the moment. So with healing your inner child, you have to ask yourself, the way you respond, the way you act. Like, you can tell when people, if you really observe and be objective, you can tell when you speak to people how they react and respond, that they react and respond the same way for years. And some people just don't change, and they respond like a little kid. Yeah. But then, some people hold on to pains. But the key thing I wanted to say today was, in order to heal your inner child, yes, we forgive. That's a must. You forgive and know that it wasn't your fault, But I feel like speaking your truth, feel what you want to feel. Feel your feelings, and don't stay in it, but feel what you feel. And I wanted to come up here and say this because when I first started my healing journey and learning about my inner child, I was trying to I wasn't trying to feel my feelings. I wasn't a person that wanted to feel my emotions. I didn't like that. And me subconsciously, not even knowing, not realizing, because in my household it was like, oh, a child that's seen and not heard, right? Or when I felt like I wanted to express my emotions, or I did express it, it was like, well, you can't feel that way. So I've learned to shut down. I would just straight shut down and just suppress my emotions, and that continued for a long time. So back to what I was saying, in my healing journey, I was like, oh, okay, I can see what happened. I could see why this may have happened and break it down, and why somebody may have treated me like that, or just I just wanted to forgive and just like let it go, and I didn't want to listen to my feelings. I didn't want to feel my emotions. So that actually wasn't healing my inner child. That actually made it 1,000 times worse. So when my inner child is telling me she acting up, or I'm just feeling a whole heaviness, or I'm feeling angry and I'm not understanding why, or for just little things, it's because I suppressed those emotions. So I wanted to come on here and tell people, like, speak your truth. And speaking your truth does not mean that you carry blame, or that you're angry, or anything like that. If somebody can't handle the truth of a situation, or they can't be objective, or say, you know what, be open to saying, you know what, I can see where that happened, or that did happen, you know, fuck it. Like, when you speak your truth and somebody always got something to say, or always want to be objective, or want to be right instead of being happy, or respecting you for speaking your truth, because everybody has their own truth, and then I guess there really is the truth. So, or come, at least if you speak your truth and the other person can't come to a common ground, because you gotta also understand, like, there's different perspectives and perceptions. So, at the end of the day, I think that I was scared to speak my truth for a long time, and I was really suppressing my emotions, and lately my inner child, like, I was doing a whole lot. I've done a whole lot, but certain things I was suppressing, and I'm just like, okay, I'm like over it. But my inner child, she's not over it, because I wasn't listening to her. So now I have these upheaval of emotions coming at me. And I was saying to myself, like, yo, I just did a podcast on inner child healing, and I'm going through my own. Like, I'm always going to be truthful, and I'm always going to keep it 100 with y'all. Like, I don't care what guru or anybody or healer or spiritual teacher, if you want to lead or teach, at the end of the day, you know that you're also a student and teacher in this life, so I go through stuff as well, so there's not no one in this world not going through anything or not healing something. No one is perfect. Nobody got it all together, so yeah, I went and got some trauma healing done by this phenomenal woman named Taz Segura. She's the owner of the Reciprocity Foundation in New York, and we was just talking, and I was just, telling her I just been going through a deep transformation in my life, and she was just like, speak your truth. And I'm like, yeah, this is how I felt, but I forgive them. And she like, that's not what I asked you. How does your inner child feel? And I'm like, well, this is how I feel. And then she's like, okay, so feel it. And to have that and release and to speak my truth. But in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I say certain things, I'm hurt people feel. Nah. Like, when it comes to your inner child, speak your truth. Forgive, let go, but feel your feelings. Feel your feelings. It's okay to feel and to have emotions. And for all the people out there who are emotional and who feels their emotions, I commend you. I commend you, and it's a beautiful thing. You're not weak for feeling your emotions, and I think for a long time I had like these defense mechanisms and this armor I had to put over myself and this image that I had to have, so that I didn't feel weak or look weak or whatever. Because I'm not, I do have inner strength, but I don't, I don't have a problem with being vulnerable anymore. Because I feel like vulnerability is strength. But I also won't allow someone to play on my vulnerability either. Just learning how to have the healthy boundaries. But anyway, back to the inner child. With your inner child, you gotta be committed to yourself. You gotta truly understand your inner child. You got to love yourself unconditionally and love your inner child no matter what. You have to, like I said, true understanding. Because you may be like, yo, why is these emotions arising? Now, look at yourself. Look at your inner child as a child. Yeah, a child. And think of it as a parent, And don't be like the parent that you had in the past. Don't react that same way because it doesn't make sense. Be the better parent. Be the parent that your inner child needs now. And when your inner child is good, you will be good. If your inner child is not good, then you won't be unbalanced. It's going to be mad shaky, So, like I said, it's continuous. And it's a fun journey because that's where you tap into your creativity. Your wounded child is not going to be able to be childlike. You're not going to be able to tap into that creativeness and be centered. You got to talk to your inner child, check in with your inner child until you could build up that momentum with them. And it's a daily ritual for, yourself. So, yes, that's what I wanted to talk about is the inner child. Speak your truth, feel your feelings, forgive, let go, be objective to people projections, and just know that, it's your responsibility now. And be compassionate with yourself. And you did the best that you could as a child, and nothing's your fault, as a child. Your parents was responsible for you. And, not to put any blame or anything. You don't have to be put no blame. If you hurt, you hurt. There's nothing wrong with that. That's where that groundwork started, And I think that I was so hard on myself, especially with my spiritual growth and learning to, really trying to open my heart, but not realizing me suppressing my emotions is closing up my heart even more. I know that, but I didn't realize that I was doing that. And me being aware, but I wasn't aware that I really wasn't feeling my emotions. Not saying that when I was letting go, I didn't cry, but like I didn't cry the way that I needed to cry. I didn't really listen to my inner child deeply, because if I would have listened deeply, it would have opened up to more situations. I would have seen and been more aware, you know. So take the time out and don't be in a rush with life. You know, take your time, quiet your mind, you know, and you really will get all the answers and ground yourself. And when you heal your inner child, you will change, you know. You won't be going back to habits and just all types of things that your inner child, especially when it's being triggered and it's still wounded, it's going to react the same way it did in the past. So, and whatever in that moment don't have nothing to do with the past. What happens in that moment is that thought in the moment is in that moment. It has nothing to do with the past. So if you're responding and reacting as you did in the past, then you need to become more aware and be like, hey, what's going on? And check in, and I don't think there's nothing wrong. There's nothing weak about it. That's just all the mindset and the belief. You really have to heal your inner child, you know, and love yourself. And the first step is loving yourself. Loving yourself no matter what, and being compassionate. And just taking your time, having time, and just knowing that you and your inner child is one. Yep. And then once you start, you know, becoming a better parent, then you start checking your inner child. None of that abusive, negative self-talk and punishing. Do not punish yourself. Do not punish yourself. You got to be compassionate with yourself. Yes, you could do tough love, but tough love don't mean cursing yourself out. No, checking your inner child. You know, self-discipline. But self-discipline does not mean tear you down. You don't call yourself bad names. You don't say negative stuff. You uplift yourself and know that you could do better than what you're doing. But you will take steps forward, not steps backwards. And you will reprogram yourself and uplift yourself. You know, you don't wound a wounded child or a wounded person. Hurt people hurt people. So at the end of the day, you're not going to add more hurt. It's just like, that would be so backwards. So, yes, I just wanted to briefly say that I just felt like somebody needed to hear that. So speak your truth, write it out, journal, write a poem, write a song, whatever you need to do. You know, if you need to like scream, let it out, but check in. Most of all, check in with your inner child. Check in. And checking in could be straight talking to yourself. You know, listening and then talking to yourself. I do it all the time. You're not crazy, so check in. And take your time. Take your time. You cannot be impatient with yourself. It's you. You can't make another you. There's only one you, and you're unique. So why not take your time and stop being in a rush and learn more about yourself, because your inner child will teach you so much about yourself. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope this helped someone. And I will talk to y'all later. Peace. No stopping.